Hi everyone. Don't just love autumn. I love the colours, I love the richness of the autumnal shades. I really like it when the bright greens start turning and they go to the reds and golds and the yellows and the orangey rust colour. It kind of reminds me of my wedding, not because of the time of year we got married, but because of the colours. Our colour theme was gold and that orangey rust colour. I just love these colours. They've been even more amazing this year apparently because of the weather that we had earlier in the summer. You know, it never ceases to amaze me when you stop and look at something that God's made, like a tree, and you look at how the detail of it, the intricacy of it, and how it functions, and people still insist that it was all made by chance and that there was no design behind it, no designer at the beginning of it all. I don't get it. But you look at an oak tree. An oak tree grows from this acorn. That's just phenomenal. And actually, it doesn't do exactly the same thing every year. It grows and it develops. And God can give us beautiful colours depending on what he does with the weather earlier in the season. I really appreciate how God uses his creation to teach us. And throughout the Bible, it's littered with descriptions of nature and the things around us so that God can help us to understand these things. You know, Matthew 6, the passage that talks about the birds of the air and tells us not to worry, the lilies of the field, the birds, they all get everything that they need. God provides for them, so why shouldn't he provide for us? John 15, Jesus talks about being the true vine and God as the gardener. He's using a language that we can relate to and we can understand. Jeremiah 17, verses 7 and 8 says this: Blessed are those who trust in the Lord and have made the Lord their hope and confidence. They are like trees planted along a riverbank with roots that reach deep into the water. Such trees are not bothered by the heat or worried by long months of drought. Their leaves stay green and they never stop producing fruit. I've got 2 flower beds at the front of my house and I've made a really special effort this year. Now, in no way, shape or form am I a gardener. Not at all. But this year, I thought, right, I'm going to completely dig through these flower beds. I'm going to take out every little last bit of weeds and the old roots that I could find. I then grew new flowers from seed, planted the seedlings. We planted all the sunflower seeds that we had from church out there as well, and we watered them and we waited. And I have to say, it was worth the effort. And we did have a wonderful display. But I think we need to take a look at it now. Let's go. Right, I'm just going to take you outside. Let's go, have a look. Bear with me. I have to say, I'm not very experienced with a selfie stick. Let's go. Around to the front of the house. And I'm just going to flip the camera around so you can see the garden. Okay, so this is what's left of my flower bed. It is full of weeds. There are still some plants in there. There are still some flowers trying to come out there. I have to say, this was beautiful this summer. But it's a real mixture of rubbish and weeds now. Our sunflowers looked amazing, and I'll show you a picture of those in a moment. I haven't tended that flower bed since September. Left to its own devices, the weeds have all grown, the flowers are finished and the leaves have all blown over it. I really do need to make some time and get out there again and go through it. Back in the summer, I was looking after it. I was pulling any weeds out as they started, I was deadheading the flowers, and I was making room for new growth, and it flourished. It was beautiful. It lasted for weeks. Walking past it now, not so much. But also, looking at that flower bed, it made me think about my relationship with God and how it flourishes when I spend time on it. If I spend time with God, we work on the good bits and the bad bits. I need to make myself available to him, and that's when he can use me and he can plant seeds in other people. When I get busy and I don't make time for Jesus, things can get in a bit of a mess. I let things grow in my life that shouldn't be there. And I notice when I'm not starting my day with the Holy Spirit, I can see myself getting more frustrated and being more negative at work. That's not something I want my work colleagues to see. I want to be that tree that's planted by the riverbank. I want to be fed and watered all the time, regardless of what season I'm in, so that I can continually produce God's fruit. Now, of the sunflowers we planted, the seeds that we planted, 5 sunflowers grew. They are amazing plants, and I just loved watching the bees as they would work their way across the tiny little flowers that make up the big seed, the head of the sunflower. And we decided to harvest the seeds ready for next year. And just look at this lot. I can't believe how many we got. Over and over again, God is showing us what he can do in us if we let him. The weather this summer has produced some amazing autumnal colours. We've been on such a journey this year through this pandemic, and I really want to challenge you. We can see all around us what can come from one tiny seed. I want to challenge you and encourage you to see if you can be brave enough to let God make an amazing display from the seeds that God can plant in you.